permits in Ohio for most industrial activity in Ohio requires at least once a week for 4 weeks. That ought to be a no-brainer, something we can easily accomplish. Secondly, Ohio Administrative Code does allow a 15-day window for public comment. Now, I guess maybe I'm the only guy in the room that takes till midnight on March 15 to turn in my IRS tax form. I could use more than 15 days. How about you to first learn about and then be able to put together intelligent comments about one of these applications? Can't we have a little more time? If it's a coal mine, it's something that's at least 30 days, opportunity for public comment. We gotta have at least 30 days to be able to comment on these types of injection wells. Thirdly, public comment by local jurisdictions. Again, I hope I am misreading the law, but as I read the law, incredibly, the City of Youngstown City Council, the county commissioners in Mahoning County, township trustees, other local jurisdictions, I believe are not required. This is the law. This isn't DNR's fault. This is the law. Does not require an applicant to inform or the department to inform. Now, the department may go above and beyond, and that's good, and let the local jurisdiction know, but we don't see that requirement in law. Finally, an opportunity for public hearing. You know, yes, technically, you have a right, if you somehow learn about one of these proposals and you somehow get your comments together in 15 days, you have a right to a hearing if you officially object. Do so in that time frame. And then what? Well, you gotta learn about it. You gotta submit your objection. The appropriate state official has to find your objection relevant, and then you and the applicant, the industry, asking permission for the permit, get an opportunity for a hearing. Not a hearing like tonight, not a hearing like most state permits, where all the public is welcome to come in. This is America. We have a right to comment. We have a right to redress our grievances with our government. The law constrains, yeah, you get a shot, and it's you one-on-one with the agency. Finally, let's move away now from public comment and public notice, public comment. I'll try to wrap up here quickly. A couple more items. One, Ohio has two types at least two types of these wells. Class 1 for truly hazardous waste, or what legally has been defined as hazardous waste. Now, I don't know about you, but when I start hearing benzene and toluene and other naturally occurring radioactive materials, it sounds a little hazardous to me. I guess the argument is, well, it's just a little bit, but some of these a little dabble, do you? We would like these Class 2 wells treated a lot more like Class 1 wells. Well, what would that do for us? Class 1 well, applicant asks permission to build one of these. They've got to take samples. They've got to provide samples to Department of Natural Resources. What is the material you're proposing to inject? We'd like to see more of a chain of custody. People watching CSI, you got to have that evidence clearly controlled, a chain of custody from the point those materials are produced in Pennsylvania or Ohio or wherever, West Virginia, to what we're accepting. We ought to know what it is we're putting down. If Ohio's going to have to swallow this waste, we ought to know what it is we're swallowing. Also, look, hey folks, I'm just learning about this, trying to get up to speed. You know, we hope all is well with our underground injection well program. And look, let's be fair, there's 177 of these, been operating since the 1980s. We've not known of, it's true. This is apparently a rare event. I hope it really is. Let's hope we never have another again. But let's do a little belts and suspenders to protect ourselves, including require, just like for Class 1, that you have to submit a seismic study ahead of time. Now, maybe that is required already. We'll hear from the department officials, I'm sure. Hopefully, I have just blown it. You know, I'm not only a poor speller, hopefully I'm a bad reader. I don't think so. I think our attorneys have understood some of these regulations, or a lot of these. We don't see a requirement for a seismic study characterization of that proposed well before it's permitted. Hope I blew it. Hope I get it wrong. DNR can correct me. Would sure like to have that assurance. We want to thank Chief Wickstrom, Larry. Appreciate very much your publicly calling for Ohio, the state of Ohio should have more of these portable seismic monitors. It is no knock on the department that they've had to beg, borrow, scrape, to be able to borrow and bring in these monitors. Ohio should do a lot better job. Ohio should be helping itself out. Here is Mike Hansen, Good Joe, the one and only part-time ODNR official running Ohio's seismic activity program on something like a $20,000 budget and 26 monitors. Don't blame Ohio Department of Natural Resources necessarily, where Ohio has a horrible economy, hopefully picking up like many states. This is one of these, everybody hates government, hates regulations until something goes haywire. By golly, this is an office that we ought to invest more resources in and help ourselves out. I don't hate government, I don't hate regulations. I think they've done a lot for our country and a lot for our quality of life to protect us. Let me wrap up, Mr. Chairman, here. And I'll just say two more if I may. One is, it's incredible, somehow Ohio law, revised code 1509.22, 1509.2, incredibly hobbles, handcuffs, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources from ever having a standard, a state standard that they might exceed, might be stronger than minimum federal law with regard to the class well injection program. Why in the world would you want to handcuff yourself? Who in the heck, what lobbyist at the State House got that brilliant idea of, hey, here's what we should do. Let's make sure that nasty ODNR, that vicious over-regulator that they are, let's make sure they never go haywire overboard and do something stronger than the feds would ever require. That ought to be the first law that we repeal. And finally, where it's wrapped up with, look at long-term blue sky in the future. Look, we live in a throwaway society. It's incredible, isn't it? How many things do we throw away and we don't look for a better use, or a reuse, or a reharvesting, or a recycling, reducing, reusing, recycling? There may be, within these waste materials that could have commercial value. I am not, yes, I'm an investor, I got a tiny portfolio, a little bit of stock. I'm not a businessman, I'm not a businesswoman. The folks that are, and our researchers, hopefully can give some thought to this. So our first impulse isn't, well, where can I trash this? Where can I throw this away? The ancient Native Americans built mounds on top of the earth to celebrate and for their religious ceremonies. What do? We somehow build mounds on top of the earth, we throw trash in them, or we inject chemicals underground. Can we find a way to extract some usable materials? There's salt materials. Now, I'm not talking about table salt, ladies and gentlemen. Make it clear, Ohio Environmental Council is not saying let's harvest the salt and use it, the saline material, use it as table salt, but there are industrial applications of saline and of brine. There potentially could be industrial applications of some of these chemicals in these fluids. Yes, it's all a matter of priorities and economics and what's viable, but long term, let's try to think more in terms of that and the ultimate long term. And thank you, Representative Hagan, Senator Schiavone, Leader Cafaro, Representative Burberry, O'Brien, Hudson, if you're still here, any other members of the General Assembly of this. Thank you for passing Senate Bill 221 a few years ago. Thank you for mandating, for the first time ever, that we are requiring utility companies to invest in clean, renewable energy, wind and solar, and an energy efficiency, the cheapest energy resource. That is where we need to go. That's where we're starting to go. Let's not put the foot off the accelerator. Let's floor it on that. Thank you very much.